Hello, everybody, and welcome to Just the Tip. Today, I'm the guest, Isman. We got Jeremy, Wilson, and Blue Mander around the table here.
Blue back and Blue Mander is Johnny.
Blue Mander's Johnny. Whatever. I'm new. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
There's no need to be mean.
Okay, I guess we could do it by voice. So I'm Wilson,
I'm Johnny.
and whoever's remaining is Jeremy, who hasn't spoken.
Oh, hi.
Good job.
Sorry, people are activating my trap cards.
Oh
Oh
man,
no.
I'm not even paying attention on this podcast anyway. Speaking of,
Oh, what?
all right. So I guess let's get this started by big news in overseas right now in the United Kingdom,
South
along
of
with
Josh.
the birth of Prince George of Cambridge, the third in line to the throne. The Prime Minister, Cameron, has also considered banning pornography in United Kingdom, which has been greeted with a bunch of outroar and everything.
Why would they ban such a wonderful thing?
I'm not sure it's necessarily banning. He's blocking it until you can absolutely prove you're over a certain age I'm pretty sure what it was going for.
Actually, I guess banning is a bad word, but what he's doing, I remember reading this, is you can't have porn in your internet connection will not allow porn unless you specifically ask for it, and in which case they'll probably have to verify that you're 18. So yeah, all the internet companies actually won't allow you to access pornography unless you directly indicate to the cable company, yes, I want porn.
Well, that's scary. Now the government's watching everybody who has porn.
I don't know. Is this something the government would really want to watch? I mean, some people don't really have the best taste. Some people aren't the concierge of the pornography industry. They watch that lowbrow stuff. I'm talking about the highbrow pornography.
Is there such a thing? Seriously?
I don't know. It's like the.
Would you call it classy?
I mean,
There's premium memberships which you pay for, and then there's cheap, free shit. That's the distinction, is my guess.
Who pays?
So I had a friend in high school who actually paid, and he indicated to me that this was the best $20 he spent, as well as the most productive or least productive month of his life. So if that's any indication of anything. He's pretty excited. He told me, you should definitely buy a membership, and I was like, really, that's not something I want on my credit card statement.
I have paid for porn once in my life. It was a trial, and I downloaded the entire library and left.
Wow, this guy.
I have no filters. You're gonna learn that pretty quick. I don't care what people know about me, minus a few extreme details, but let's not talk about that. I don't need to be revealing too much to the public in general.
So speaking of reveals, I guess, Xbox has of course revealed that they are now opening up the Xbox One to indie self-publishing, which is a series of bunch of backtracks from the original release or the information we got before E3. I mean, just in general, do you think this is going to help Xbox sales, or did they just react too slowly to what the consumer market wanted?
I don't know.
I get.
Sorry, audience, in case you can't tell, I'm not really paying attention at the moment. My bad.
Okay, so he's dueling someone as a shadow duel. So if he loses, he'll just disappear.
This
from the
isn't a
podcast.
shadow duel.
At around the 20-minute mark when he does lose, he'll just disappear from the podcast. We will lose the audio.
Face.
We'll lose the audio.
I've got Aboleth the Toy Mints on my side.
So what, are you gonna go into a deep dark corner and be depressed about your loss, or?
I'm not. I didn't lose. I didn't lose.
Fair enough, I guess.
Tower game's a serious business, yo.
The indie thing, it is a complete reverse, because what they started out in, they were pretty restrictive in indie games, and they've been backpedaling ever since the launch, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I like really think about is that the Xbox One, the idea they started with was a pretty good idea. I felt like that's actually what I'd rather they had stayed with DRM and all that like random cloud stuff. I feel like that would have been something different because I just feel like a lot of consumers just like jumped on the fact, oh, we can't play used games, and they just like kind of like went in that direction. But I feel like honestly, like they should have stayed with what they had.
Well, the whole idea behind their first thing was to get developers just as much money as they like to stop the killing of developers getting no money for all the resales. But at the same time, they tried to give themselves money too, obviously. I mean, it's a novel idea, but if not, everybody would have had to follow it for it to have worked in the first place. And Sony was just like, "Yep, screw that. You shot yourself in the, or you put the gun in your mouth. I just pulled the trigger for you."
I mean, I felt like DRM. Like I'm a huge proponent of DRM and like all that online stuff that Xbox One originally was just kind of a big part of because a lot of people just didn't understand what they were doing. Like essentially, what they were doing was saying we're gonna store a lot of your games on like the internet, and that's why you kind of need to connect. But then again, like people kind of were like, oh, like what if we don't have an active internet connection? I mean, like it's like I understand like the only group of people I'd really like feel like intensely sad for is like obviously like, those in the armed forces overseas where having a reliable internet connection is very scarce. But to be honest, it's just like I feel like there's a great potential behind online sharing, which is what DRM really is. Like essentially, your neighbor could own a game, and you could essentially be like, okay, I don't own this game, but can I play it? Can I play like do a multiplayer thing on your console? And the DRM would actually enable you to kind of download a temporary version of that game to play. It's kind of like what they did with the 3DS, with the DS, and that's like a really big step. I feel like there's so much you could have done with that, but it's just not what the consumers want right now.
Well, PlayStation has that similar thing where the person can take over the game for you. They can watch you. And there's still all the online stuff, anyways. So, I think it's a pretty big cop out. One of the few for PlayStation, but everything else they still trump Xbox in at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great comparison where like they just show exclusive. I think a big part of this selling point is that the PlayStation just has so many more exclusive games for the console. It's a ridiculous amount that Xbox just doesn't really have. Like the main sellers for the Xbox One are going to be Halo, and that's about it. Like that's like the main selling point is actually just Halo for the Xbox. But I mean, one thing is definitely like I guess if people ever really enjoy the Kinect, which I don't, I just feel the Kinect has been like motion sensing has just been really awkward. I don't enjoy like the Kinect or like the Sony Move or like the Wii stuff. But yeah, I guess the Kinect is the thing that Xbox really wants to try making work because they're putting on so many exclusive games for the Kinect, and it's just like people just don't want it, and it's kind of sad that that Xbox is putting so much time into doing something.
They will the Xbox One will be able to work without Kinect. They've announced that there will be a version released later that is like the basic bundle that does not have a Kinect at all.
No, they denied that today, actually.
They denied it?
No,
Oh, I missed that.
like, they said that, because there was, like, the rumor going when that would happen, and they came out and said there's not going to be any Xbox that come without a Kinect. They say, like, you should have it to enhance the experience.
Well, I don't think it's much of an enhancing experience. I don't know if you've seen the meme, but I'm going to buy both a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One so the Xbox can watch me play the PlayStation.
I mean, it's
But my problem with the Kinect is I don't know if you heard about this, but during the Wii in-game, like during one of the big events, they had Wii's in stores at Best Buy that you could play there. Like you could play all the new stuff and stuff like that. And they had Microsoft Xbox employees like going around and trying to sell people on this. And one of the people doing that was just like, yeah, but I don't like the idea of the Kinect watching me and like telling everybody what I'm doing. And he's like, the response was, most of what the Kinect takes in, it does not leave the Xbox. Why does any of it leave the Xbox? That is my problem. Why?
I mean, I just feel like, it's kind of like Netflix and everything like that, to be honest. I watch Netflix, and sometimes it's just like, oh, your friends find this interesting. And, like, sometimes it's great, like, people who have my friends been watching, or it's basically like the Facebook concept. Yeah, essentially nothing on your Facebook should ever leave your Facebook, but, people do want to catch up with you and see what you've been doing, and that's the entire purpose of why you use it. I just feel like, if you're playing games, I don't really see what the big deal is in terms like, oh, it's like recording what you've played. I really doubt it's like what people are like fearing. It's like, oh, it's recording what I'm doing on the couch, and it's probably just recording, like, to be honest, like what games you played, and in the instance that your friends want to like join on or something, they'll know what you're playing. I mean, that's nothing new. I mean, in the instance that Microsoft somehow has developed the technology to like actually use the Kinect as a webcam, which I really doubt if it's like a personalized thing that they've done. I really doubt. I mean, if they have the technology, then that's pretty creepy. But I've done worse stuff in front of my computer.
Haven't we all? I still have a problem with it, mostly just because I feel like if it goes to the whole big NSA thing, I know, but not that I follow it that much, but there have been multiple companies, big companies, that have come out and been like, yeah, we've given the NSA private information and access to certain things and all this. And what's stopping Microsoft, if they haven't already, from just doing that and saying, here you go, take whatever you want?
I mean, that's like honestly that's the least of the worries. It was a really bad coincidence that like the week they released the Kinect, like the week before they were like, oh yeah, the NSA has like Prism and stuff. I mean, people are definitely overreacting to what exactly Prism is. It's just like, it's more like if you're doing something illegal, yeah, you should be kind of worried. But people are just saying, oh no, they're gonna read my emails and like everything. Well, if you have like relevant information that's like really just like sensitive, like, oh, I'm running a child prostitution ring, yeah, of course you'd be kind of worried. But if it's like the standard email saying, hey, guess what I did on Wednesday, like, not run a child prostitution ring, like that's not like the NSA isn't gonna be like, oh man, all these secrets, and keep like a diary of this stuff. That's not like what it is. It's mainly just a security procedure, and I guess people just like get really paranoid about all this
God
stuff.
damn it.
And he lost. So Jeremy will disappear from this podcast in like 5 minutes.
Oh, damn it. I had the Winged Dragon of Raw out. He had 10,000 attack and defense. 10,000.
Jeremy's going to the shop.
I quit. Screw that game.
I was getting pretty
Put it
pissed
to the
off
top
earlier.
of my dick. Screw that guy.
Earlier, I was playing through the original Half-Life remastered, the Half-Life Source. I bought that during the Steam summer sale. I bought all the Half-Lives. Oh my god, there are some moments in the first Half-Life that I almost threw my freaking keyboard across the room. It drives me crazy.
Are the zombies pretty bad in that game?
Half-Life Source?
I don't know any of the Half-Life games.
There's no zombies. They're all aliens.
Yep.
Oh.
Let's try that. The bad part is you get thrown into a lot of situations where they spawn all around you, and you just kind of flounder around shooting in every direction. And then there's a lot of jumps over like trip mines and stuff like that you have to do just right, otherwise you die and you have to start over. The worst part is no autosave.
Oh yeah.
There's zero autosave. Oh my god, I didn't figure that out until I was like an hour and a half in. Put me
That's
back
like
to the beginning.
Legend of Zelda status.
Oh, I love Legend of Zelda. I never had that problem with Legend of Zelda because I press B to get out of everything anyway. So every time
But
I'm
you
in the
can do
menu,
well.
it happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Legend of Zelda is just I mean, like, Half-Life is good. I mean, that's like the epitome. People like always compare Half-Life as like, the epitome of good gaming. But I've never had a bad experience with a Zelda game. I mean, Half-Life, I feel like Yeah, a lot of people aren't just gonna get into Half-Life. Half-Life is a very first-person shooter kind of thing. It's like really that's what like what it kind of is. But so I know a lot of people who just don't get into it. But I've never met a person who's just been like, oh, I hate Legend of Zelda. It is the worst game ever put out. I mean, just you never have a bad experience with like that series.
When I first played Half-Life, it was on the 360, and it was a borrow from one of my friends, and it was Half-Life 2, and I couldn't get into it at all. But this stuff, I just remember my brother playing a lot of it when I was a kid, and I watched it and I was like, oh, I want to play that. And being the youngest, I never got to play these things, so now that I have all of them, I've made a determination that I need to play through all of them in order, even the ones not necessarily made by the same publisher.
I don't know, like is that a thing? I think we mentioned this on like 2 podcasts ago or something, but is playing a series in order like really that crucial? Like if you can't get like a hold, I remember the example was Assassin's Creed. If you couldn't get a hold of the first one, is it like would you just not play the series at all and wait until you somehow got the first one, or would you just play 2, 3, or whatever one you had, and then just been like, oh, whatever, I'll get to one when it comes around?
Well,
For
it
game
kind of depends on God.
for games since 2006, yeah, you can pick up and play it from anywhere in the series. They're made that way so it doesn't discourage people from buying them.
I mean, like, what is a game where you kind of had to start from the first one? I'm trying to come up with like a good list, but I really can't think of it. You had to start specifically from the first one.
There's none where you have to, but there are big story elements missing. Like Legend of Zelda, if you play Majora's Mask right off the back, there's a whole like another world missing. You don't know where any of these Gorons, any of it comes from.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you'd have to play Ocarina of Time and then like, pick up Legend of Zelda. But I mean, Majora's Mask was specifically created as like an expansion. I don't know. It was meant to be created as expansion. Basically, they were like they went to the developer and were like, you can either create like the expansion for like the follow up to Ocarina of Time, or you can just do your own project. And I was like, I'm gonna do my own project and then put out Majora's Mask, which is probably one of the most fun games on the 64. I would rate it.
Damn
I would
straight.
rate it higher than Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time for me was a little
Yeah.
boring, but Majora's Mask is just so much fun with the mechanics and just like how the time thing works. It was a blast working with that game.
It was infuriating but wonderful at the same time.
Basically.
It was quite good. Before I get too far off, like again, like kind of with Zelda, like in the beginning of Wind Waker, they talk about like the hero of time, and like if you can go through Ocarina of Time, like like really get the full experience out of that one.
I mean, but it's like it's kind of funny because in that instance, like the Link that's in the game has no idea what the hero time is. He's just like, I have to dress up in this green outfit that like, and I have to wear it for the rest of my trip. Like that's the only thing going through the kid's mind. He doesn't know. He just doesn't. He's like, I don't know about this like Link from the previous time.
I think the Elder Scrolls series is probably the most like playing the one before that it adds a whole new depth to the next game. Like Skyrim, as soon as the Solstheim DLC came out, it was like, oh my god, back to Morrowind, let's do this. I was so stoked.
Oh, how many people like picked up Morrowind before they started playing like Skyrim or Oblivion? Because I know like
What?
Morrowind for me, like I randomly picked up.
I couldn't figure
Just
out
like
how.
randomly picked up. Like one day I was in a GameStop and I was like, wow, Morrowind's like $3. Let me just pick this up for the Xbox. And then I played Skyrim, and then like I played Oblivion first, picked up Morrowind, and then went to Skyrim. And so it was just like I did it out of order, but I definitely see what you mean. Like there's so much like callbacks to like the beginning of the series that's just like no one really knows.
And they make it that much better.
Although callbacks to the beginning of the series, by beginning of the series, everyone means Morrowind. No one means that 2D scroller from the very beginning.
The Elder Scrolls 1 or 2, yeah.
No one means that.
But of the 3 games I've played the most, Halo 2's probably in the top, Oblivion, and then Morrowind. I don't know what it is about Skyrim, but I just like Morrowind and Oblivion better. That Morrowind was great because it was just so free. You could do all these crazy glitches. You could get so many artifacts, so many everything, and it was wonderful.
I just want to point out that if we go back to the clip that what you just said, you legitimately went Halo 2, Morrowind, and
Oh
Oblivion.
God, yeah. Halo 2, that was my glory days. Nothing will ever be as good as that. That was my Xbox, or my brother gave me his Xbox, and I was like, hey, there's an account with Live on here. What's this? And he's just like, oh yeah, it's there for a year. Go for it. And I was just like, yes. And then that entire summer was nothing but me sitting in one of those mushroom chairs, drinking 2 liters of pop at a time, playing Halo. It was easily the most fun I've ever had gaming in my life.
For some reason, I think around like the time Halo 2 was big, I got into the competitive scene. Like I was like really like how people like watch like college football or like soccer. Like for the longest time, I was like really caught up into like professional MLG like Halo, and it was ridiculous, dude. Like I never took that game seriously. Like that game was like serious business. After I got caught up in the thing, like I never played that game for fun. It was like always competitive. Like I never found like, oh, hey, I'm just having fun, like just goofing around. Like no, it was you do certain things on this map, you know where everything spawns, and it was like a really serious endeavor for me.
Do you remember any of your rankings?
I mean, I played in a few like state just like local tournaments and stuff, and we had this.
No, I mean rankings like online
Oh, dude,
rankings, like
I
rank
exclusively
32s.
played LAN. I did not do the Xbox stuff. It was like that. It's that weird like Xbox Connect thing that they used to have. It was like it's like you plug them into each other and then you just play on a LAN server. That's what we did. And like that's the only thing they did. Like when I was practicing, my friends, we just like found like 8 people. We just practiced like really seriously. Like I hardly ever did LAN. Most because like I didn't want to pay for it. Like for me, it was just like, do I really want to like buy Xbox Live? And it was just like at the time, like, school was also pretty important, so I didn't really want to like waste money on something I was only going to get like a weekend of playing or so. But yeah.
Then you might have missed out on the whole mod scene. Oh man, custom games on Xbox Live, always 16 people. One of them's a modder. Game is the most fun thing you've ever experienced. Spectre turrets flying around like banshees at full speed, shooting each other. Shotguns that shoot tank rounds for every pellet. Oh, just crazy stuff all over the board. And I played more custom games than I did anything else in that. And I have friends on Xbox Live right now that I met when I was 11 or 12 playing Halo 2, and we're still friends on Xbox Live because nothing has ever been as social as the original Xbox Live. Like on the original Xbox. I don't know if you experienced that transition, but it got a lot more unpersonal pretty quick.
No, no, like for some reason, like I have experienced the new Xbox Live. I always feel like I play with the sound off like almost like 50% of the time. If I walk into a room and I'm just like attacked, assaulted by like 12-year-olds, I put that game on mute. I'm not gonna have a good time. It's just gonna be I did this to your mom or I did that to your mom.
There was a lot
Yeah.
less of that on the original Xbox. Like a lot less.
I mean, oh man, miss those days. Now it's kind of like, yeah, it's just I'm pretty sure your parents are not allowed to like let you technically play this game because it is M for mature. Like, technically you are like you're still like not hitting puberty yet. Like there's like a limit to what you can play. Like you should play like Super Monkey Ball because
It's what you're supposed to play, not what you
it's
can.
Super Monkey Ball.
They can play anything they want as long as their parents agree, which is the problem.
Kind of sad, dude.
It's extremely sad because it's our generation of like parents that are letting their kids play these outrageously graphic games. and they just don't care because it's what they did when they were a kid when their parents weren't looking.
I mean,
and they're just
yeah, but it's like, if you think about it, like, it's the same thing. You see every stuff you see in games, you see in movies, you see in TV, you see it everywhere. It's not like a whole just games, and like no matter what happens, a kid's gonna get into violent stuff.
I mean, but
almost always.
Like, I mean, you can't, like, a kid can't just go, I want, like, you know, a ticket to see, let's say, like a great example of like a rated R movie was, you know, Clockwork Orange. Like, back in those days, you couldn't just be like, you know, 12 years old and be like, yo, I want a ticket for like the 9 o'clock showing of like Clockwork Orange. Like, hell no, there was no way, and still there's no way you can get into a rated R movie as a 12-year-old. That's like pretty difficult. But I feel like some parents just like some parents are like, no, we don't want you seeing, like, you know, we don't want you, like, for example, you know, in Britain, we don't want you watching porn. But, you know, if you want to play Call of Duty, that's perfectly fine. Like, that's the part I just don't get. I feel like there's like a certain standard that parents aren't getting. It's like, if you're not letting the kid, like, you know, like watch pornography, if you're not letting him, you know, go to like violent movies, what makes it okay to let him play Call of Duty?
I don't know if you guys went to RTX, but Kelly Dunlap, Goose Checka, you know, Griffball Hub, she did a panel there. It was something along the lines of mental health in video games, science versus stigma. She covered a lot of stuff about how video games are considered negative, but since like the dawn of all these violent video games, violent crimes have gone down tremendously. Whether it's directly related to video games or not is not necessarily a factor, but in my mind, I don't think violent video game, I mean, it may desensitize people a little bit to these to violence, but overall it's a way for I'm not trying to be a dick, but crazy people to get their little creepy urges out and do it on these video games instead of stalking and raping people.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like, no, like, that's definitely true. Like, I know times when you just get frustrated, you want to put it out in a game, but at the same time, I feel like if you're a kid at like a certain age, you shouldn't be having this.
What
I mean,
kind of
the
age?
where it's like you need to play like rated E games, where the most violent you'll get is like Super Smash Brothers. Like, I feel like there's a certain.
I was 12 and that was still in effect. Damn it.
10 and under?
I'm not even 10 and under. I feel like maybe when you hit like 11, 12, like when it's at the age where like, okay, you know what, I guess it's like reasonable for you to like make a valid statement saying, okay, you know, hey, I'm an angry child, let me play like, you know, Call of Duty or something. Like when you're 9 and you made that argument, it's like that doesn't really hold. But like, I mean, like I said, 12 is a pretty low number as well. Like, I'm talking about, like, you know, maybe like you're 14, 15. That's the age where like, okay, you know, I'll give you some leeway. But like 12 years old, you know, you should still be playing like, you know, like Dora the Explorer, like looks for like the blue map or something. You know, like there's like certain games you should be playing at that age.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, it's not like this is something new. It's been there since like the NES. Like, there's games like Final Fight, where, like, running around hitting people with pipes and stuff.
But like,
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a beer. 2 more.
but like, I felt like stuff like back then wasn't as like gruesome, I want to say, in a way. Like, I mean, Final Fight was bad maybe for that generation, but like if we take a look at, you know, like just the graphics and everything, it wasn't like that bad to the point where it's
Like Halo.
Like Halo 1 was like far less realistic than like Halo 4. If we just take that series alone, like Halo 1, like I'm okay with, like, you know, 12-year-olds playing Halo 1 because, you know, it's not like I want to say it's not like that realistic to the point where it's like I mean, like, let's take the basic mechanics. In Halo 1, you couldn't like slit another Spartan's throat. In Halo 4, that is like that is like very possible. Like they're just ways like.
You know, I think they might have made Halo 1 M because of whatchamacallit, Cortana.
Okay. Let's
Wait, what?
let's reflect on this for a second. Cortana wasn't really like, you know, the sexual icon I would envision.
I know, but like that was the best you could get in that kind of day in a video game.
It's just like she looks naked, but not really.
I don't know. Halo 2, there was a lot of, if you do this on this map, you can see Cortana and Master Chief having sex naked, and it was in the same map that the golden. Yeah, that was a rumor that was rampant in Halo 2, as well as the Golden Warthog, which I'm still not positive actually exists.
There's only one glitch in Halo 2 that I believe because I've gotten it, but it's the Scarab gun. That's the only one I think that really does exist because I've gotten it. But like
Depends
Halo
on
2,
what you
In
mean
Halo
by
2 or
glitches.
wait, which?
What do you mean by glitches? Like the multiplayer glitches, like super jumps, certain areas you can get through, just crazy BXB,
I
BRB,
know.
stuff like that. That all
Like,
existed.
I mean like Easter
I
eggs
assure
in
you.
like the single player.
Those aren't
Yeah,
glitches.
yeah,
Those are
that's
Easter
what I meant.
eggs.
Like, that's the only one. Like I mean glitches. I mean like yeah, like I'll believe. But like
Okay,
in terms
now
of Easter
I
eggs,
get it,
there's
now I
certain
get it.
things that like people say, oh, like this exists in the game, and I'm like looking for it, and I'm like, yeah, this is like the requirements for this is like, yeah, you have to like smash the wings off a Banshee, and then like beat that Banshee through like a small tunnel that doesn't really fit the Banshee. That's why you have to break the wings off, and then before you get into the next scene, you had to get in the Banshee and then ride it to like the top of a tower and get the gun. Like stuff like that's like pretty difficult. Like it took me like a few hours to like get a Banshee to do all this, and it was just like
The golden warhog glitch. My guess is it does exist. It was on a multiplayer map. You had to fly a banshee somewhere where it was not supposed to go. Then you had to scissor, not if you know what scissoring was in Halo 2. It involves swords and jumping on top of each other's heads up to certain areas, and then you had to sword cancel, which is another glitch, and then you had to sword cancel out over this giant gap and hit a nearly invisible button because it's like in the sun, like when you're looking at the button, it's in the sun basically, and you have to hit that button. So there's a lot of crazy little Easter egg stuff they put in there.
yeah. But I mean I don't know. Like the entire thing of Easter eggs. Like what is your favorite all-time Easter egg in a game? Like that was just like one like you can either be the most rewarding Easter egg or just like the best Easter egg.
Oh, I gotta say, in Halo Reach there was that room, where it was just like a Halo dev room. I don't know. It was on the one where you were trying to guard Halsey's base.
Is it the one where it's like all the past stuff from all the other games that was like they were like Fiji?
Yeah. It's just like a
Yeah.
bunch of memorabilia, and it's really cool. I love that Easter egg.
Like my favorite Easter egg, it was in, I don't know if you'd call it an Easter egg or a glitch, but it was in Halo 3. It was the whole Stairway to Heaven thing. Like you had to like jump like on top of like platforms and like I think it was like the second mission, and you just keep jumping up and up, and you just go like way out into the game.
I feel like Easter eggs have definitely gotten more prevalent in just about every game since the dawn of games. Like, it's a big thing now to have these crazy Easter eggs, and they get posted online and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Whereas-
like probably like the craziest Easter eggs are like probably easily because of how ridiculously annoyingly hard and retarded they are. Would probably be the Call of Duty whole zombie Easter eggs things.
Mine,
It's like, go on, sorry.
my favorite one easily is the Dead Space, the first Dead Space, the chapter, first letter of each word in the chapters spell out Nicole is dead. Sorry if anybody hasn't played Dead Space, take your damn time. But when I saw that, I was over the moon. I was freaking out.
I never really had like a huge like favorite Easter egg. Like there's a bunch of like small ones, like small places, like all the GTA ones, where like you go to a certain place and they're like Easter eggs. They're like the heart of the city Easter egg. And there's one in San Andreas, which is like there is no Easter egg here, like that entire thing. Like I don't know, like I feel like the best ones are like ones that just like developers are just like put in specifically because it's an Easter egg. Like they know people like will travel like the lengths of the map, look everywhere for like baby stuff developers have put in. And the best part is when developers know and they like specifically put these things in certain places.
Hold on, I changed my mind. I forgot about this one. Mega Man X, the Hadouken Easter egg. Instead of a power blast, you do a Hadouken.
I just realized that most
Ah.
people there's a Hadouken, dude. I just want to point that
Sorry.
out there because I didn't know what you were talking about for a second. I was like,
Hadouken.
I was like,
Hadoken,
I
sure.
don't know what that is.
I read these things the first time in my mind, and I think how they're pronounced. After that, that's how I pronounce them. I don't care if anybody corrects me.
Well, like
Just-
the characters in like Street Fighter, they say Hadouken out loud when they do the move.
I don't remember that.
They do. Dude, I play fighting games like all the time.
Like,
I would
okay.
know.
Do you
Okay.
play fighting games exclusively at arcades, or do you do like the entire like controller thing? Because I know they make what's called the arcade
The
sticks.
arcade sticks.
I feel like I can only play fighting games with the arcade sticks. I'm just like so used to like putting coins into an arcade machine and playing like Street Fighter versus like Capcom or something like that. Like I'm so used to it, I can't do it on a controller. Like you give me a controller, I just don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, like pretty much like if you're like new at the fighting games, like you usually start off with a controller, but like once you use an arcade stick, it's really hard to go back. 'Cause it's just like infinitely better to have a stick.
Where are you guys from that you can do these arcades? I'm from middle of bumfuck nowhere, Kansas. The nearest
Yeah.
arcade was at least 30 miles away.
Well, like I don't have an arcade, but like, you can buy like sticks that you can use for like home consoles, like your Xbox
Yeah,
or
yeah.
PS3 or whatever.
Fuck Kansas, dude. Like that's actually like no one is.
That might not be it.
It's terrible. There's no Halo 2 tournaments. That's why I never got into that competitively. Like, there were plenty of LAN parties. Like, Halo 1, my older brothers, that was their thing. LAN parties all over the place in the middle of nowhere, literally. Like, this house 30 miles from civilization decided to do a LAN party. All of a sudden, 30 people from all over the range of about 50 miles just appear. You don't know half the people. You're just like, whatever, let's play Halo.
I don't know, dude. I always wanted to live in Kansas and stuff because that stuff seems like. I mean, I live in New Jersey, so like everything is like pretty close to me. Like I grew up with an arcade like maybe like 10 miles from me, and that was like a big deal because like all my guy friends when we were younger, we would always head there and like play all those games. And Halo, like LAN tournaments were like really like relatively close to me. Like we would just have one, and because like plus New York is like legitimately like a bus ride away. It's never too far, so anything that was going on in New York, I could just like if I really had the desire to, I could just head over there.
If I was where you were, I legitimately think I would be attempting as hard as I can to be a pro gamer right now. Because out here, like the first 2 years of even the 360, gaming was a complete like negative in everybody's minds. If I say like, yeah, I play a lot of video games, I'm automatically the nerd or the loser. And it's not that that wasn't true, but this is Kansas. There's the cliques here. There's like 2 or 3 of them. And if you're outside of that, you're like, I'm the emo kid because I got a tattoo. It's not an emo tattoo. It's not like a tear on my face or anything. It's just
dancing not allowed
It's-
in your town.
Are you like forbidden to dance?
if it's not like extremely rap or extremely country, no,
Like, do you live
it's
on the
not
set
allowed.
of Footloose? Is what we're asking.
God no.
I don't know, I feel there's definitely those clicks there, but the thing about the Midwest is that they breed like football players, lacrosse players. I'm being serious. That's something I wish. Like in New Jersey, I completely understand. I do tennis and stuff, but like a good comparison is like tennis in New Jersey is okay, but tennis in Florida is just like they just breed tennis players because all they do is it's forever sunny. Like you'll get like a hurricane every now and then, but like the majority of the time it's like sunny, nice. Like sometimes I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind like growing up and playing lacrosse or like playing soccer or like football.
It's the exact opposite here. There's not as much soccer here in Kansas as you would think. The bigger schools have it. Most of it's focused on football. I come from a 3A school. Football was the god to my entire high school. Football players got whatever they wanted. Everybody went to all the football games and that, and if you said something bad about the football team, you would hear about it from your parents because such a small
Really?
area. Yeah, it's such a small area that once something gets out, everybody knows it. Like, I could tell a secret to anybody. They'd say something about their mom. It's the ultimate rumor mill. It's the rumor factory.
So the more we know, what we have learned from this podcast is don't move to Kansas.
Yeah. The one thing we do allow, which is awesome, is lots of guns. There's plenty of space for, like, off-roading, doing, like, country out in the middle of nowhere where you can do whatever you want and nobody will know about it. Including doing stuff like buying something a lot of my friends used to do is buy shitty used cars and ramp them off culverts of fields and just tear them to shit and then tow them out the next day. Shoot stuff you really shouldn't shoot, like propane tanks. Trying to make bombs was a big hobby among my family. They were all failures except myself.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just like
I don't know. They might have, all been
perhaps
just putting it out there.
Well, my family is fairly large. They didn't do any research. They didn't do anything. When I went to make a bomb, I went to the Pirates Dictionary, and I'm a little bit of a chemistry buff. I learned up, I learned how to make these things, and a lot of it's not very hard. You can make from battery acid and iron oxide. Iron oxide is pretty flammable if you ignite it right. I mean, I've made thermite. I've made all sorts of crazy shit. Some of it legal, some of it not.
I just realized that if we put this on YouTube, there's a very good instance that, like, randomly we'll get, like, a couple hundred views, and, like, the NSA will call your house, Ethan, and, like, just, like, request,
Good luck. Ugh.
They will go.
Sure, why not? Stop using my real name and maybe I have a better chance. Call me Isman, damn it.
Fuck out Kansas and, like, just, like, find you.
Oh, there's much worse people in Kansas, I assure you. There's terrible, terrible things that I know of that have been done. That
What, like inbreeding?
Okay.
Is that actually
no,
a thing in Kansas?
that's more west than Kansas. That's western Kansas and like North Dakota and stuff. There's really not that much inbreeding here, despite what people think. There's a lot of rednecks here, but we're the rednecks who like to light stuff on fire, blow stuff up, shoot stuff, and build things that go fast.
How many tornadoes do you have?
A fair amount.
Have you ever met Dorothy?
These questions.
No,
I was retarded.
that was a good one.
But,
But no.
I don't know if this is just because, like, my friends are weird, but, like, there's this guy I know from Montana who I met at school, and he told me, like, one day, like, he just called me and it was like, hey, all my friends made new friends and have new friend groups, but, I got a new gun, and I was like, what? And apparently, he, like, really does, like, love his guns, and he just told me, if I have no friends to hang out with, I'm just gonna shoot my gun, like, all through, like, summer. And I was like, okay, that's pretty exciting.
There's weirder people than that. A kid I know, his first name was James. His second name was pretty generic as well. But he came to class every day of high school, occasionally in a suit, mind you, at least like once a week. I think it was on Thursdays. He would come in a suit, but he would come every day with a cow vertebrae on a shoestring tied around his neck.
That sounds delicious.
Interesting.
That's pretty badass, actually.
That's pretty
Dude, I
fucking
would not
creepy.
mess with that kid, dude. That kid has the time and determination to find a cow vertebrae to tie around his neck. That's like determination.
It's the country, dude. You can find cow
That's just
vertebrae
pretty
anywhere.
determination, though. But like, if that's considered weird, that guy must have been like, "What is the weirdest thing I can do?" And he probably said was like, "If I bring like a Colt 9mm, that's not gonna be weird. But what would be weirder?"
I have the video of this guy. I have a video that you should put in the link dump. It's got It's already it has 8,288 views since a lot. Yeah,
The
the
hall
hall
monitor.
monitor. It was that guy. He wasn't wearing. You can tell which one he is as soon as it comes to the point that you see him. You know. But put that in a link dump if you guys have one, and I want to see how many more views it gets because of this.
2 more views.
Yeah.
A good
Two more views?
3 or
Awesome.
4.
Good, excellent. Sounds about right. It's actually a pretty funny video, but the kid is one of the creepiest people I've ever met in my life.
The more you know.
The more you know my ass.
Someone has a message. Let's see. I'll be back in a second. Okay.
Oh, Johnny's gone. Let's make fun of him while he's gone. Johnny, you suck. I hate you.
No,
Anybody else?
I don't know who Johnny is, but his picture sucks.
it's just a
Yeah.
blue Charmander. It's just a blue Charmander.
It's a blue Charmander. What a loser.
What?
Oh wait, yeah, his name is Blue Mander.
I don't even know what
Just
my
realized
name is. My picture is.
It's like
What's my
2
picture
white
on here?
people and an Asian person.
You mean the God, what is that called?
Profile picture on Skype.
No. I got
Oh,
this.
okay.
Vietnamese shame
I
wheel.
have no idea what that is. Is it?
If you
is
don't
is this a Kansas thing?
It sounds a lot like you're tied up on it and you like are on it. It's like the wheel. I don't know.
Don't.
Hard to explain what
The
I'm
Vietnamese
thinking.
shame wheel. If you don't know it, don't ask.
Is it
You're
like
not
It's
ready.
like the Russian bobsled.
A lot.
Is
Don't
it the
ask,
Russian
you're not
bobsled?
ready.
That's all I gotta ask.
It's
Is it
No.
like? Is it like so? So you know how like people are on like those wheels and then people throw knives at them while they're spinning? Is it like that? But instead of knives, there's whips.
don't ask. You're not ready. That's the answer to every question you have.
Came back at a weird time.
It's a reference to
Okay, like-
something. Don't ask. You're not ready.
Is it a Pacific
Oh
Rim
my
job?
God.
Oh, oh, dude. Okay, I wanted to talk about this on the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Really?
We
Are
talked
you that
about it last
interested?
week.
On the Rooster Teeth podcast, I actually Barbara mentioned that, and I actually didn't know that she said that when I said it on the other podcast. So me and Barbara thought of the same thing. I'm proud of that.
She actually listens.
She's
I'm
actually
sure.
like one of the 20 viewers.
She's a big
like,
fan.
Specifically, like more dedicated than everyone else. Which reminds me, also, does anyone realize that like there were actually like girls on the forum? Like, was this a surprise to anyone? Like at all? This was a surprise to me. I was pretty
Not really.
surprised to find there were females
It's 2013. There's females everywhere now. Not necessarily females that you're attracted to, but females.
on the forums.
Wait, on what?
Also, I don't know. Is the appearance of
On
a
the
female
what?
on this podcast like eminent? Are we gonna break the sexist barrier? Are we gonna allow women to
Well, there were 2 girls interested. One had going to be on the last week that hadn't come out yet. I don't know if it will come out, but she had family stuff. And there was one that was going to be on this week, and she just never got in touch with us. Like, there's no gender barrier at all. Like, we don't care. Like, if you're a guy, a male, a transvestite, genderless, I don't care. As long as you're funny.
If you want to make them feel as awkward as possible, put me on the same podcast. I will ask questions that should not be asked.
Should not be asked.
Should
That's probably
not
where
be
it
I don't know
becomes
that
in.
I want to be on that podcast.
That's
It won't
yeah,
get
anything
too
comes in.
dirty, but it will be hilarious to some extent. Or at least for me. But I have no line.
oh man.
You know? That line you're willing to cross?
Live?
My line
So
is
Jeremy,
miles
basically,
away.
When he does send you his audio track, delete the email, and just
Yeah.
the
It's
show-
not an
just-
email.
No,
Yeah, I'm
just
just gonna. Yeah.
conveniently forget that he has provided you with your
Be
Google
afraid.
Drive.
Be afraid.
So you're never gonna appear on the podcast again.
It happens.
It happens.
It happens.
This is not the first time that Ethan has been kicked off podcast after the first.
not off a podcast. Generally people don't get my sense of humor, and generally don't take a lot of my negativity is sarcasm, and they just don't understand it. That doesn't make it
Don't worry, man.
that doesn't make it
I get
not
you.
negative, but it's a joke, and nobody else gets it except
Not negative is improper grammar.
So like,
you
so
know what
like
I'm trying to
positive,
say.
you
God
mean?
damn it!
So like the word positive.
No,
which
not
is,
really.
like, not negative.
It's awful.
I am. Let me count the bottles.
There's a certain limit.
This is my 7th beer, so give me some leeway
God.
here.
How old are you?
I'm almost 22. Don't worry about that.
Almost.
I thought we
22.
would. This
Okay.
would never be put out.
Yeah, this
In the
would never be
in
put
the
out.
next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll turn 22. But in Kansas, drinking is a pretty big thing as well. Like something that happens a lot. You'll get pulled over for a DUI. They'll make you pour your beer out in a ditch, and then they'll tell you to go home.
Okay, that's
It's interesting.
I don't drink and drive, so I wouldn't know, but I've gotten a lot of reports of such things.
Here you just get
yeah,
arrested.
I think
Why
that's
live?
pretty normal procedures. You get arrested for that stuff.
You get arrested and you get sent to the drunk tank for the night, and then you get served with a DUI. One of my friends got a DUI recently. Made me laugh my ass off. But it depends on how big like if it's a big party and you out in the country there's 5 to 10 people sitting in a living room drinking, the cops aren't going to get called, and then there's everybody for 20 miles is at your house getting wasted. And cops get called on those ones fairly often. And like the first few people they'll arrest, and after that they'll just be like, just go away.
I want Jeremy to kind of take a look at the beginning, the clips at the beginning of the episode versus now. The accent that Ethan has definitely was not as prominent as at the beginning of the video, so we should.
So when he gets drunk, his
I'm gonna
accent
stick
comes
note of
out.
that,
Okay.
You know, like we should.
We're just gonna use this against him.
What's my accent?
Just a,
Please.
I don't
tell
know.
me.
You have a
podcast
southern accent. Dude. You have a very distinct southern accent.
Oh, I don't say words like y'all. I mean,
I do.
the way I speak
I'm
is
like-
fairly southern, yes, but I'm not from Texas. And the one thing I hate more than anything is the word y'all.
Y'all.
I
Y'all.
fucking despise that word. It is the ultimate
really-
turn off
y'all really
for
hate that?
chicks. Yes. If a woman says y'all, I don't care if they're the hottest person on the earth. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Sounds like you
I
have
messed
a
up
problem
dicks.
there.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that if I messed it up.
Now
Y'all
you're
should
using
say,
it incorrectly. He was about to, but you're saying y'all in a.
Y'all
it's
should go
just
see a
me.
doctor.
We're referring to
Seriously.
like, the general. referring to
It's
the
just
population.
me. Y'all is
Referring to the
plural.
population of Kansas, like y'all, as in Kansas, need to do something about this. Y'all, like
See a therapist? A lot of us do.
Y'all should go see a therapist. Seriously.
That's gonna be the
y'all
tagline
should
for this
see a
episode.
therapist. But that is like actually something that's pretty interesting. So my friends took a trip to Montreal, and I was like really like, because one thing like I was always curious is like, do Canadians actually say a boot? And it's 100% true. They actually do say a boot. Like I thought it was just like, oh, South Park exaggerated, or like people are just like screwing with me. But they went to Montreal and they brought back videos, and legitimately they just do say a boot. Although like some people, that's like deep Canada. That's like the deepest accent in Canada. Otherwise, it's like a boat, like ABOAT. A boat. But like otherwise, it's pretty heavy.
Have you ever met a a deep Canadian or whatever that have you ever met
Yeah,
one?
I
Just
have.
at all?
What's the difference between a regular and a deep
I guess
Canadian?
this is where the accent's from. I mean, I say deep Canadian because I have no idea where the accent's from. Like
What was your impression from this Canadian? Was it a male or female?
completely normal?
What did you
Completely
think of him?
normal. Like I thought, like I was expecting something else. like I was expecting, a very nice person that was like apologetic, and stuff like that. But pretty much.
Ooh, along the border, they're like that. They're just normal people. They have a slight accent. The further you get into Canada, the more this holds true. That all males are complete fucking assholes. Females are super nice.
So we have we have a few theories we need to test. Drive further north into Canada, but it's also because as you drive further north, you start going to the North Pole. Like there's a certain level where there are more penguins than there are humans.
I don't think there's any penguins in the North Pole.
Maybe,
Is there?
Do you know,
I don't know. Let me Google it. I feel like there's no penguins in the North Pole.
No, there are more polar bears in the North Pole. That's what I'm trying to say. There are more polar bears. I mean, either way, the quantity of exotic wildlife that lives in the snow overcomes the human population at some point. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's true. Wait.
There are almost no wild penguins in the northern hemisphere except the small group on the northernmost Galapagos.
I think Robert did.
Most penguins are based in the South Pole. The more you know.
No, that's not true.
No.
You got it all out of whack.
No, most penguins are in the South Pole. There are very few in the north.
It's because
I stand by
bears
this.
in the north, and polar bears eat penguins.
How did?
Polar bears eat a lot of shit.
Specifically, they're polar bears that eat penguins specifically.
Seals.
Seals. Navy seals. They eat Navy seals.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Navy seals. No, the ones that have guns but are pansies, so they don't use them on the polar bear that's eating them.
Are we talking about the polar bears having guns for hands?
No, we're talking about the Canadian military.
Once again, I ask, is there actually? No, I know there's a Canadian military. I'm not even gonna go there. But they're called Mounties. The local law enforcement are Mounties.
That's completely different than the military. Military and local enforcement officers are two completely different things.
Well, it's military for Canada is.
One are federal, one are, I don't know, in Canadian regional?
Yeah.
Provincial? Provincial?
No, but I mean, the reason why I say that is because the military in Canada is pretty much the same thing as the military anywhere. It's not like saying, oh, there's a big difference. Not really.
Well, theirs isn't as big.
Okay, if we're going to go into size, there's always the country of Malta, which might not have a military. Malta's is an
what's
island
Malta?
off in Italy that was functioning as a fortress, and then in the middle of World War II, they were we're a country, which is the same thing for other small things Andorra. And yeah, I mean Andorra is a random thing in the mountains.
They're halfway between Italy and Africa.
That's Malta. Malta is almost there. They're almost African.
It's almost halfway. Yeah. If the rest, I don't know. I'm in a history class right now. Corsica and what's that other tiny island next to Italy? Sicily. Yeah, they didn't have any part in the World War II at all.
The more you know.
Yay,
Before we get too off of geography, I have a kind of a serious question into debate that I've had for 2 years. In your guys' professional opinion, would you say that Filipinos are Asian?
What do you mean by that? Do you mean do we as mainland? Do I as a mainland Asian consider Filipinos to be Asian, or as the general geographic and continental structure of it?
Well, that's kind of the point of because Asians are people from Asia. It doesn't matter where, and the Philippines are part of the continent Asia, so let me make them Asian. But I hear people telling me, no, that's not right, just because they're an island.
Located on the same oceanic plate. The clarification of Asian mainly comes from the fact that they're all located on the same, fault plate. They're like located on the same plate, which is why we make a difference between Oceania and Asia, because Australia and like New Zealand and like those areas are a separate plate from the Philippines and the rest of that stuff. Like technically, India isn't really part of Asia geographically. Geographically, it's not. But politically,
India is on its own plate.
India shares
It does what
its
it
plate
wants.
technically with Australia, so they're closer linked to Australia than they are
Really?
with Asia.
Didn't know that.
But I mean, India technically is a subcontinent if we're really being specific about this all. But I think that both politically and geographically, the Philippines are closely related to Asia, like to the point where we call them Asian.
I think a lot of it has to do with the original, like, advanced cultures. Like, China was an original advanced culture when Australia had, even when British got there, it was Aborigines. They were not advanced at all. In the Philippines, I don't think it was that habited of an area as compared to China as a whole, or Asia as a whole. I mean, Japan had tons of crazy people.
All right. Okay. I don't know. Do they classify themselves as Pacific Islanders?
That's what they classify themselves as, but like it's like you can use the same argument as Japan. Japan's not like connected to like what people would consider Asia, because they're off on an island. Japan's an island, but it's still Asian. Like you still consider them Asian. So why would the Philippines be any different from that?
Like I feel though it's more like the location of it, because if you look at Japan from like the rest of Asia, it's pretty close. Like Philippines kind of has an argument, I guess, in a way. But I mean, like that's why. Like I feel like honestly, if you're really gonna go that far, Pacific Islander is a term that people use. But I don't think you're necessarily wrong by using the word Asian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just the argument I have is I have a Philippine friend who shout to Chris, and I know you're not listening, but who constantly says he has no way Asian, and I'm telling him every day.
Wilson. No. Oh, wait. It looks to me like he has to leave in the middle of the podcast.
Well,
It's so
no.
unprofessional.
We
Wilson.
can just finish. We can do questions and then wrap up really quick.
Wait, how long have we been going?
About an hour.
Wow, I have not been paying attention. Damn. Okay.
So let's roll on the questions. You were like
I thought
dead
we were like
the
30
first
minutes
half of the
in.
podcast. We thought you were gone. We thought you went to the Shadow Realm.
No, I'm not in the Shadow Realm yet. Sloy for the Skoy Dragon is reducing all his attack by 2,000.
Did you use Maneater Bug? I think it's OPEO. So let's go on the questions, I guess. Ow, my fucking foot. Okay, so, first question is, if you could move to any place in the world, where would you move?
Wait, there's questions? If I could move
yeah.
to any place in the world, where would I move?
Yeah, everyone.
Canada.
Sorry.
Well, you other two think, I'll say mine. Being from California, I like California weather, and it's good. And it feels nice in my body. I wouldn't want to move far.
My body.
I
Absolutely.
feel like you're rubbing yourself right now. Feels nice in my body.
I actually am. Can't see it, but I really am. Yeah, like I like the weather here, and I wouldn't want to move. So I live in kind of like a smaller area in Anaheim. I can see Disneyland. It's pretty cool. But I always thought San Diego looked pretty nice to live in. It looked like a nice little community. What about?
I would probably go to somewhere like Austin or probably West Coast, but not anywhere big. Maybe on the outskirts of something like San Diego, but I mean outskirts.
You mean like Kansas?
No. That's not outskirts. That's a different state. If my goal in high school was to get out of Kansas, I failed. I got as far as I could. K-State. Not that
I
far.
like how like you legitimately K-State
Not that
stands
far
for
at all.
Kansas State, dude. that
I
that's
know.
like, still Kansas, dude.
Do you know how much out-of-state college costs,
I'm
man?
going out of state.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it sucks a cock. I don't have that much money.
How
I'm
many?
from Kansas. K-State is as far as I could get.
In terms of cost, many donuts.
As long as it's not beer.
What about you, Jeremy?
What?
What
Oh,
would-
I would probably. I don't know where I'd go. That's a hard question. I don't know. I mean, I am in California, the best state in the United States.
Yeah, you're right.
But I don't know. Where in the world would I go?
California.
No, I'd probably go to like Hawaii. Wait, can I just go there for like a? Can I like live there, no expenses or anything, or is it just like I could take a trip there?
Well, it's like how you live right now, but in a different state. Or whatever.
Probably Hawaii. Gotta say,
I've heard Hawaii has a bunch of pack rats.
pack rats, man.
Those rats are getting big.
Alright, so next question. What place that you have visited has been your favorite place you visited?
So the only place I've ever visited besides California has been Vegas. Never been out of state except for Vegas, so that's my favorite. Also, Let's Play the Ship Part 1 is out.
Oh yeah, it's after that.
Woo!
I didn't watch it yet. So I guess I'll go. Probably I went to Vegas because my cousin turned 21 and he got drunk while I had nothing to do because it's Vegas and it wasn't old enough to drink. So
Yeah, I was like 12.
So I just went to there's like a place called the Pinball Hall of Fame, and they just have like pinballs from like where it started to like where they are now, and there's like arcade game machines. It's pretty legit. That and SCR 2013 was pretty cool.
Wait, what's happening?
Science.
I'll answer Canada for most place countries. So, why is he not talking? Oh, it's Canada.
Well, I guess Wilson left. Just make sure you don't lose this thing.
Wilson.
Dude, it's just like Castaway.
Wilson.
I can hear him type, but he's not talking.
No tears,
I mean-
only dreams.
I'm gonna shoot my next off. Alright, so yeah.
No
Make sure you,
dreams for you.
if you lose this, I'm gonna cry. Alright, anyway. What about you, Ethan?
I would say, honestly, the most fun I've had out of state is probably RTX in Austin, Texas. I've been to Florida when I was younger. It wasn't terrible, but there were a lot of really old guys in Speedos, and then the group call died. And I'm answering a group call. Like I was
I don't
saying,
know if I might have dropped the host or something. I don't know.
no,
Go back.
like I was saying, Florida had a lot of old men in Speedos. I've been to North and South Carolina. That was actually pretty good, but it's the Atlantic Ocean. The Pacific Ocean is better. Niagara Falls was
Yeah,
decent.
Pacific Ocean is awesome.
Gulf of Mexico is pretty good. I liked that.
Never been. I've just heard there's giant octopi.
I didn't see those. It was when I was a little kid, so I don't remember that well. It was just clearer than the Atlantic in general.
Did you all have a good time at least?
Yeah.
Alright, so last question. This is kind of simple. What video game genre is your favorite?
First person shooter is what I'm best at. Like Call of Duty, I mean, they're all the same game, but it's still what I'm best at.
I guess I'll go. I like beat 'em ups a lot because they're fun, and Rampage is like one of the best games ever made.
Rampage? I love Rampage.
Yeah,
But
World Tour was so good.
that's... I'd probably go to anything original, really. I mean, Alan Wake made my day. Mirror's Edge, easily my favorite game ever. Kingdom Hearts wasn't necessarily original, but I mean, it's my favorite game because over Mirror's Edge even. I know I said it was my favorite. But I have quite a few tattoos of Kingdom Hearts. It was just a rough period in my life, you know. It helped me through shit. Video games for the win.
Yay. Alright, so that's questions. So you can always send your own unique question in. We'll most likely read anything, no matter what it is. And you can send that in at transmissioninbound@gmail.com. It's also in the link dump if you couldn't understand what I said. We also have the RT group, which will also be in the link dump, which is just, I think it's Transmission Inbound Podcast. I don't know the name of the group. And then we have the YouTube, which you may or may not be on right now, which is just youtube.com/transmissioninbound. And that's the closing statements that we have for this podcast.
Wait, okay.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say, Jimmy?
What just happened?
If it wasn't this and next week, I wouldn't care. But it's finals on summer semester next week, so I'm busy as shit.
Yay. I might be here again, but I might not. It's absolutely yay.
Anytime
It's
you'd
yay
like
when
to
it
have me
equals.
back, I'd be game.
Alright.
You'd be game? Get out.
Ethan, never to appear on another podcast.
Exactly.
He was a one-time guest. He'll never be back, except probably he'll be back.
In fact, we're
in 2 weeks.
banishing him from the RT site.
We're gonna have a shadow game after this
Good luck.
podcast. He's gonna get banished.
You hurt my feelings.